Hey guys, so today we are going to cover relative compression testing. It would have been our in-person demo if you would have been here, but being that you're not, I really want to get you this information so that you're able to see it and you're able to start doing it while we're out in the lab. So I will go over everything from the tools to where you find the tools in the tool room. We'll walk in there, I'll go over that. We'll come out to the vehicle, we'll actually perform the test, and then we'll go from there. So bear with me, I'm gonna pause it as we walk into the tool room. All right, in the cabinet, there are actually 4 different cases in here that are important to us. 2 lab scopes right here. So you need 1 lab scope. Grab 1 lab scope, and then obviously there's 2 scan tools. Grab 1 scan tool. So I need 1 lab scope, 1 scan tool, okay? All right, I took my scan tool out of the case right away. I figured you didn't need to watch me do that. I'm gonna press and hold, turn our scan tool on. As that's turning on, what I did was I opened up the lab scope case that is the smaller of the 2 cases, right? When I go to do this test, guys, everything you need is in this top portion of the lab scope case. You don't need anything down here right now. Okay, so these just flip up. I can go ahead and open, and there's a couple different things in here. First of all, there is a cord to hook from my scan tool to my lab scope module. And then there is a set of test leads in here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hook everything up. So I'll pause the video for a second, and then I'll show you the hookup to make sure you understand, okay? All right, so here's what I have. I have a cord going from my scan tool to my lab scope module, right? Don't quiz me on the types of USBs because I definitely don't know them. Here's the thing. How about line the correct USB up with the one that you're plugging into? Pretty simple, right? So whatever you call this type of USB here, plugs into the top of our scan tool, okay? And then we have another style of USB that plugs into our lab scope module. And then on our lab scope module, I have a set of test leads, okay? And they have an alligator clip on the black, an alligator clip on the red. I am connected to channel A, all right? And these are just twist locks, so I need to line the little dowel up. Hopefully you can somewhat see that. Line the dowel up, push in and twist until it locks, okay? Please be careful, make sure they're lined up, don't damage the tool. The lab scope was about $800, and obviously you know what the scan tool costs, okay? So now that I have everything hooked up, I actually took a toolbox off of this cart just to try and help just demonstrate here. You shouldn't need to do that, but if you do, you can see how nice this cart works then. I'm going to wheel my cart over to my vehicle, and I need to find the battery. So relative compression, what we're actually testing is we're taking a look at the starter, but think about your cylinders, right? If one of the cylinders had more resistance or less resistance, or let's say compression or pressure, right, than another, the starter would spin over harder in one spot than another. So what we're actually looking for is we're gonna look for a waveform that looks like all 8 cylinders, and I'm gonna show you that in a second, but we need to access the positive and the negative of our battery, okay? So I'm gonna take my test leads, and I am going to connect red to red, always connect your red first, and black to black. Okay, now that I am connected, I'm going to go ahead and turn my scan tool on. And I am going to go into, sorry, my fingers are in the way. I am going to go into Maxi Scope. So you saw I had to swipe to the side a couple times. 1, 2, Maxi Scope. And the first thing I need to do is open a channel. So if you look at the top, A, B, C, D, they align with the channels here, A, B, C, D. So I could possibly hook up to more than one component at a time. For this test, we are not. So I need to open channel A by just pushing on the A button. Then I can go ahead and hit play in the top right corner. Right? It'll say finding device, and then you will see I have a waveform right now. Here is the scale that I'm going to hopefully pound into your heads as you go through this test. I want to go down to my time base, and I want to select, so just push on time base. I want to select 200 milliseconds per division. 200 milliseconds per division, right? So it says MS on there, 200 milliseconds / division, okay? And then for my voltage, I want to go to the top here, click on where it says 100 millivolts AC right now. I want to select 500 millivolts AC. So you can do AC or DC, 500 millivolts AC. And now I am set up for my test, okay? I'm going to pause for a second, and then I'm actually going to move my cables around to the driver's side of the vehicle. If you have a group that you're working with, you can leave this set up exactly where I have it by the vehicle, okay? But for me, I can't record, crank the engine over, and show you what I'm doing all at the same time unless the scan tool is on the driver's side of the vehicle. So I'm just going to pause for a second. All right, thank you for bearing with me. I had to figure out how I was going to hold the scan tool, crank it over, show you what I was doing, hold my phone all at the same time. But I think I got it figured out. Okay, so the next thing I need to do, guys, is I need to disable fuel to this vehicle, all right? With our starter test, I talked about clear flood mode, so that is an option, okay? So I'll show you how to do that one. So on this truck, I can turn the key to on. I'm sure the radio is just absolutely cranked, right? Turn that down first. All right, so then what I will do is put my foot to the floor on the gas pedal, okay, and then I will go ahead and crank my engine over. And then I can hit the stop or pause button, which you saw at the top right, okay? If I missed it, if I hit the pause button too late, here's what I can do, and I'll show you in a second here. I can go to the previous frame, and I can see my waveform. So I'm just gonna hit pause for a second on the video, and then I'll put this out on a bench, and I can describe this waveform a little bit better where I'm not worried about dropping a scan tool. All right, so here's my waveform. So believe it or not, guys, every one of these, of course I lost it now, is a cylinder. I'm just gonna pause. I'm gonna go ahead and get another waveform because obviously I lost it. All right, sorry guys, but every one of these is going to be a cylinder. Okay, so for example, if I wanted to really see or know what I was looking at, I can go ahead, take my fingers and spread this a little bit. Because right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. I always want to get at least 8 cylinders to look at if I have an 8-cylinder engine. If I have a 4-cylinder engine, then get 4 cylinders. Okay? So you saw how I can just move this to manipulate that waveform. Now what happens if I want to go up and down, right? Because obviously it's going to be important what my peaks, so up here, and what my valleys look like, right? So in order to do that, I need to tap on this bar on the side, and you saw that it became bold. Now I can go ahead and drag this open a little bit, and I can just move it back up. See how now it takes up most of my screen, right? That's what I'm looking for. Okay, here's what's really nice. All of the valleys line up. You see we have some weird noise here. That's normal. But then all of my peaks line up as well. This would tell me that the overall integrity of this engine is good. Okay, So once again, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4 cylinders, right? So I have actually more than one cycle of this engine that I'm looking at here. Now, if I saw one of these and it was completely gone, that would tell me I have some sort of engine mechanical problem. So what test is this replacing? This test is actually replacing a mechanical compression test for each cylinder. So if I were to shut my mouth and let you do the test, you could probably do this test in under 5 minutes. Okay, and this is going to be your lab end course. So once again, I am hooked to the positive on my battery and the negative on my battery. Okay, I have my test leads going to my lab scope, connected to channel A. Then I have my USB or power cord going from my lab scope to my scan tool. And I am on 500 millivolts AC or alternating current. And I am on 200 milliseconds per division. Okay, and you can't see it now because it's grayed out. It doesn't let me change it once I get a pattern. But if I were to go up here and hit play again, now you can kind of see if I zoom in, we're at 200 milliseconds per division. Those are the only settings that you guys need to change. I will tell you, for your end course, I will be manipulating the different voltages and time sweeps. So it's important that you remember 500 millivolts AC, 200 milliseconds, okay? I will continue to review this with you, but I hope this video helped. And now you can go ahead and do a relative compression test when you're out in the lab for a checkoff and be prepared for your end course. Thank you.